and welcome to yet another brand new edition of The Pulse, the show where we talk about issues concerning society. I'm Tina Jha. In the Indian society, the family is considered to be an institution by itself, a typical symbol of the collectivist culture of the country right from the ancient times. Especially the concept of a joint family system or an extended family per se has been an important feature of our culture. But with the advent of the 21st century that brought about rapid urbanization and significant socio-economic changes, our social fabric also underwent significant changes. Various factors like better education and employment opportunities led to joint family systems getting diluted, with most people having smaller family units comprising only the parents and their children. According to the 2001 census, out of 19 crore 31 lakh households, 9 crore 98 lakh or 51.7% were nuclear households. In the 2011 census, the share grew to 52.1%, that is 12 crore 97 lakh out of 24 crore 88 lakh households were nuclear. What is striking here is the decline in the proportional share of nuclear households in urban areas. From 54.3% of the urban households of 2001, nuclear families have fallen to 52.3% of all urban households. In contrast, in the rural areas, the share of nuclear families has risen from 50.7% to 52.1%. Across India, the share of joint families fell substantially from 19.1% to 16.1% between 2001 to 2011. In rural areas, the dip was sharper from 20.1% to 16.1% than in urban India, where it fell from 16.5% to 14.6%. A research carried out by the Pew Research Center also suggests that the Indian joint family system is mostly still going strong despite the common trend of urbanization and nuclear families. In fact, the report says more than 50% of Hindus worldwide live in an extended or joint families, while the Muslims world over live in the biggest households. Around the world, extended family households are the most common living arrangement. On this edition of The Pulse, we'll try and analyze the different factors that led to rapid disintegration of the joint family system a few decades ago, the impact it had on people and the society, and the reasons behind the reversing trend now, especially in the urban areas, as the data suggests. A distinguished panel of experts join us in the studio today to discuss various aspects of the joint and nuclear family systems. So let me introduce them to you. We have with us Dr. Ruby Bharadwaj. She is Associate Professor, Department of Sociology, Janki Devi Memorial College, Delhi University. Next to her is Rashmi Anand. She's a social worker. We also have with us Neelam Bharadwaj. She is Executive Director, Central Social Welfare Board, Ministry of Women and Child Development, Government of India. And Dr. Rakesh Chadha, he is Professor and Head, Department of Psychiatry, All India Institute of Medical Sciences, Delhi. I welcome all of you on the program today. And besides, we also have in the audience a group of people, mostly comprising of youngsters and also senior citizens. They too will be participating with us in the discussion today, sharing their perspective about joint family system and also the nuclear family system. I welcome all of you on the program as well today. Dr. Ruby Bharadwaj, let me begin the discussion today first by discussing the various advantages and disadvantages of both the joint and the nuclear family systems. Obviously, all of us know both have their share of advantages, negatives and positives. But in the context of our society, the Indian society, where culture plays a dominant role in determining the structure of our families, do you think today, the kind of lifestyle that we live in today, it is causing serious damage to, the role played by joint family system in the passing on of traditional values and systems, which earlier on were happening and now is missing?
See, we have to look at joint family or family per se in a perspective with regard to other institutions in the society. They have to be consistent. All institutions in the society have to be consistent and compatible with each other. Just to give you a brief genesis, when families, there were no families when hunters and gatherers kept moving on. It is only when they became slightly stable, attached to a given piece of land, that you started to have the notion of family. Because a man who worked hard really wanted that the benefit of his labor should go to his progeny. That's when you started to have men controlling over women, trying to control their sexuality and to have family. right? Then we move, as land became more scarce and the demand for land went up, we also started to see that land became a status of prestige, of wealth, and that is the time when people became rooted to the land and they started to have, you know, what is called long extended families running over generations attached to that piece of land, common property, common residence. They also had common decision making. And that is what, there is where I would like to contextualize the growth of joint family. However, even in the rural backdrop, you will find a lot of people continue to live in nuclear families or small families simply because they did not have large pieces of land. But with the coming of industrialization, you know, family, which was a unit of production and consumption, with the coming of industrialization, that began to change. It ceased to be a unit of production, and people had to move to factories to work. And urbanization started, and the whole scenario underwent change because there were political changes, there were economic changes. When we talk about political changes, you know, individual became an entity. It was no longer the communitarian ties that were important, it was the individual. And you also have now, each one of us has an Aadhaar card or a PAN card, which means individual became more important than the community and the family. We also had changes that were taking place in the legal system, and we have now that women have important role in property.
Yes.
In the sense that they acquire property, both of their fathers and of their husbands. So given all these changes that were taking place, we could easily come to a point where the joint family may not be supported by the other institutions in the society. And you have nuclear families. But as you pointed out, this was happening initially.
Yes.
Right now, after the 2010-2011 survey, we find that the number of nuclear households are going down both across the country and also in the rural areas, they are going up. So what we are trying to say that this watertight compartmentalization between joint households being preponderant only in agricultural backgrounds of the rural areas and the nuclear households being preponderant in the cities is not correct.
Yes.
The reality is somewhere between the two. We have to look at household as an entity to understand the changing scenario.
Yes, I'll come back to you and understand the factors that are leading to this reversing trend. But before that, Rashmi Anand, just as preserving cultural values and traditions is important, what we are witnessing today is that in nuclear families, the collective age-old wisdom that was being passed on from one generation to the other in the joint family system is another thing that's missing, and that's another disadvantage of the nuclear family system, the breaking up families. Do you think, you know, our youngsters today are living in an age where they're caught up between these two conflicting worlds? They're more confused in terms of, you know, not just preserving their values, but also in terms of imbibing those values that were being passed on to them?
Yes. So I'll just pick up from where, you know, ma'am left off. And I want to say that, you know, somewhere we've become individual versus community when it shouldn't be like that. So I sat for many years at the Crime Against Women cell, counseling women undergoing violence. And one of the things I learned over there was that even when it comes to issues of domestic violence and, you know, women's issues and gender issues, the role of the family cannot be negated. So even when people would come to me, women would come to me, the first instance would also be to join together the family. I could do that because with the role of the police and sitting at the Crime Against Women cell, we could invite the, you know, the in-laws and to come and sit together with the families and try and resolve issues. So the stress should always be on families, and and you know, in the olden days we used to say कि if you want to get married into a family, तो देखो कि लड़की कैसी है और लड़की की माँ कैसी है, और या लड़का कैसा है उसका father कैसा है. So when you put it all together, the values that come down, you know, everything is percolated from the top. It's very necessary to have that bondage with everybody so that you can carry forward certain things, certain love, certain responsibilities, duties. Today I run a trust which gives free legal aid to women and child victims of violence. And once again, though I run a legal aid trust and, you know, I carry forward the things that I learned from the Crime Against Women cell, that first you try and join together, because the value systems, the traditions that we are so losing touch with, those come from our elders. And I think it's very important to keep that on.
Certainly. Neelam Bharadwaj, when it comes to passing on of wisdom and culture and traditions, obviously the joint family system is a preferred choice. But one thing that goes against this system is that it doesn't help working women. As it is, India, I mean, I was going through a research, and I found out that India has one of the lowest levels of female labor force participation across the world. And when it comes to the traditional joint family system, women have very, very less role to play.
The perception is different than the actual thing which is happening at the ground. Women participation in the workforce is of equal ratio, but the reporting of women workforce is little less.
Okay.
So that is one of the issues. See, even if we are doing our household works, that's why we say homemakers and we don't say working women, because homemaking is also a work,
Yes.
which normally is not accounted for. So now in joint family system, there is a scope, there is a space, there is a time with the women to contribute towards the family. But once it is a nuclear family system, the work, the time, quality time, the space which she requires becomes lesser for her. So that is one of the issues which I would say that the thing which you said that the joint family system is still persisting, it is taking a different form. The wisdom which is coming from elders to the younger ones is now coming in a different form to them. Sometimes the younger generation is able to imbibe it. Sometimes they know it is important, but they can't perform. So these are the issues which needs to be taken care of.
Okay,
This is
not
what-
generalizing, but largely, barring a few regions in our country, our society is mainly patriarchal. What we see is that we do not free our women for paid work. Household work is one thing, but for paid work, especially when it comes to their decision-making ability, we do
Yes.
not trust them more often as compared to men. So, you know, this is one huge disadvantage that the joint family system has.
This is where we are coming up as with a scheme called family counseling centers, wherein a space is provided to a woman to voice herself.
Okay.
Normally what happens, her own voice is somewhere not taken care of in the space, in the social space. So there is a family counseling center where the woman comes with her problem and we facilitate them to be economically independent. We are also guiding and counseling the family on the other hand to facilitate women to be more empowered in all aspects, not only in monetary aspect, but also in the social form, because they have to raise their voice to become equal partners to raise the society.
True.
So this is where we come and we provide the services of family counseling centers. That is why it is called family counseling, because the whole family is counseled.
Yes.
It is not the women exclusively, but somewhere the elders, somewhere the relatives, somewhere the peer group, somewhere the neighbors. So everybody is counseled at the center.
Okay.
So this is
Okay, Dr. Rakesh Chadda, as she said, you know, family is one unit. Everybody is connected, everybody's participation is important. In the context of mental illness as well, we see that, you know, family support is extremely vital.
Yeah.
Do you think because we've gradually moved on from our joint family system to, you know, a nuclear family system, small families due to various factors, this is leading to a surge in various kinds of diseases that we are seeing, something like illness, child suicides, depression. And if we live in a joint family system where you have people to take care of, you can keep such problems at bay?
It would be difficult to say that shifting from joint family system to nuclear family system is leading to surge in the mental illness. But definitely, once a illness occurs, then the joint family system definitely provides a lot of support, especially in the urban areas where in the nuclear family, both husband and wife are working, and one of them gets an illness. Now other person has to take a role of the caregiver. Now there is nobody to earn. So in such a situation, definitely the joint family system would have been a great buffer.
Maybe not mental illness, but
Or
factors
any
like
illness.
loneliness.
That would be in any illness actually. Yeah? That would be any illness which any chronic illness, I would say, not any acute illness. If it's a chronic illness which requires hospitalization, or say person is at home and needs someone to take care of, so in that situation definitely the joint family system is a much better system which offers lot of support. In addition, when both the parents are working, now children are growing up, there is no one to take care of children. Especially because in the recent years, with the more and more privatization coming into in the employment sector, the in most cases the parents would be leaving home early, maybe around 8 a.m. and returning home late night, late evening, not night, late evening. So in that background, if it's say extended nuclear family, which was not the concept of the joint family in the earlier, say 3 brothers or 4 brothers living together, that was considered the joint family. Now the extended nuclear family, which could be called a kind of joint family in the urban sector, there are say grandparents who can take care of the child and who can look after some of the needs of the children. So definitely, and if those are not there, there are more chances of children to develop behavioral problems or mental health problems or some other issues. So that way, the joint family system in different ways offers lot of support directly, indirectly, and in maintaining mental health, or say providing support once a person develops some kind of any kind of illness, whether it's a mental illness or the physical illness. So that way, joint family system has definitely number of advantages, especially in cases of health issues.
But in terms of intrusion of privacy, decision making, do you think, when you compare both the nuclear families and the smaller families are way better?
Yeah, I would say that one tends to become, say, more independent if one is living in a nuclear family. So that could be one of the disadvantages. Like if you are constantly being supported by someone, some elder, so definitely that interferes in your developing independent skills, running the household, running so many things. So that way, definitely there are some disadvantages, but advantages are also many.
Okay, so we've heard about the advantages and the disadvantages from our panelists. Now let me bring in the audience. We have several senior members sitting here in the audience. So let me first take your view. आपने दोनों तरह के परिवार देखे हैं. कुछ लोग हैं जो joint family से निकलकर अब ऐसी परिस्थितियों में आए हैं जब smaller families में रह रहे हैं. आपको क्या लगता है? Taking into account the Indian societal structure, कौन सा ज़्यादा better है?
जॉइंट लाइफ
अच्छा, आती हूँ, एक एक करके बात करते हैं. या बोलिए.
मैडम, मैं अभी न्यूक्लियर फैमिली में ही रहती हूँ, लेकिन मैं आई फील कि जॉइंट लाइफ फैमिली इज़ वन ऑफ द बेस्ट फैमिली. आप बताइए कैसे? आप दिवाली मनाते हैं, कोई त्यौहार मनाते हैं, कहीं आना जाना होता है, आप पीछे से, हमें पता है हमारी मदर इन लॉ बैठी हैं, फादर इन लॉ बैठे हैं, हाँ वो एडजस्टिंग नेचर के होने चाहिए. मान लीजिए वो एडजस्टिंग नेचर के नहीं हैं, then it is very difficult to adjust with them. अगर वो एडजस्टिंग नेचर के हैं तो मेरे ख्याल है जॉइंट लाइफ फैमिली जो है दैट इज़ वन ऑफ द बेस्ट फैमिली.
जॉइंट फैमिली तो ठीक है, लेकिन जिस तरह से बता रहे हैं कि डेवलपमेंट हो रही है और वो न्यूक्लियर होते जा रहे हैं, तो उस हिसाब में जो है कि वो फोर्स होता है, वो तो करना ही पड़ता है जॉइंट फैमिली तो, क्योंकि पहले डिपेंडेंसी थी, सब कुछ था, तो इसलिए लोग जॉइंट में रहते थे. अब सबके वो हो गया, डिपेंडेंसी ख़त्म हो गई, इंडिपेंडेंट हो गए सब लोग डेवलप करना चाहते हैं, तो वो न्यूक्लियर अपने आप ही होते चले गए. फैमिली में भी जो चिल्ड्रन है पहले 4-4, 5-5 होते थे, अब 2 हैं, किसी के तो 1 ही है, तो वो कैसे वो जॉइंट फैमिली होगी? वो जॉइंट फैमिली हो ही नहीं सकती. ये तो वही वेस्टर्नाइजेशन वाला सिस्टम है, जो स्टेट जो है वो वेलफेयर देखता है, अब वही काम होगा. जैसे जो न्यूक्लियर रह गए, जो ओल्डर पीपल जो न्यूक्लियर रह गए हैं, वो जब तक स्टेट उनकी केयर नहीं करेगा तो और कोई काम नहीं हो सकता.
न्यूक्लियर फैमिली के एडवांटेज ये है कि सुख दुख में सबके साथ काम आते हैं. लेकिन ये जॉइंट फैमिली का जो कंसेप्ट है, जैसे एक ओल्ड आदमी के पास 4 बेटे हैं, चारों बेटे डिफरेंट सिटी में सर्विस करते हैं. अब वो दे मेक इट ए पॉइंट कि दिवाली वाले दिन सब लोग इकट्ठे होते हैं. वो कंसेप्ट ऑफ जॉइंट फैमिली fulfilled by them.
Family system, normally has a economical effect that is very economical in the way of, if a joint family, you can save a lot of money, but a nuclear family, you cannot save money because there are more expenses than in the joint family are less expenses because everybody contributes towards the family. Whereas a nuclear family, nobody can contribute. They have to depend upon their own earnings. That is the main reason.
Rashmi Anand, because you've been
I want
working
to-
with families,
yes.
yes, I wanted to raise the issue of adjustment that she pointed out.
I want to say two things. First, of course, I'll address this. I really do feel that, boundaries are very necessary. So, like ma'am said, it is important for adjustment to come from both sides. It cannot be that one set of people has to adjust to the other set. So the fluidity comes only when you respect each other's boundaries and yet you are there for each other. So that's one way of looking at it. But what I do want to address is your labor force participation. When you talk about women in the labor force and you talk about issues of women working, and we can go on till kingdom come about patriarchy and things that have existed. But we also have to know that there's a lot of women working from the house who are not, that doesn't have to be, homemakers, but they are working from the house because the avenues are widening for women now and they can work from the house. And in such cases, whether women are outside or, work outside or work within the home, it's very positive to have older people of your family within the home. At least your children are protected, they are looked after when you are busy. I think it's a great thing to have the backup of family with you because there is no, nothing better than that. But again, boundaries have to be respected, individuality has to be respected, but togetherness should be respected most of all.
Yes. Dr. Chadda, because what one of our audience members pointed out is the issue of adjustment. Within the family, you can disagree or you can have various different kinds of views, and the acceptance to that fact, basically being tolerant, is something that you learn when you have a lot of people living around, have multiple views, you grow up seeing that. Is it that which is affecting us because maybe we can say our generation is not too adjusting because we haven't seen all of that when we were young?
There are two things. One is what happened in the last few decades. The families have become smaller and smaller. As somebody from the audience also pointed out, earlier there used to be 5-6 children, or so now the norms has become 2 or sometimes even 1 child. So in that background, definitely the concept of the traditional concept of the joint family, in which there are 4 brothers and with their family, wives and children, they were living together with the parents and grandparents. So that was the conventional joint family. Now, in such a joint family, unless the discipline was followed, and by say there was a one person who was the head of the family and he would enforce all discipline, and the rifts between the say ladies in the house, say there are 4 daughters-in-law or 3, so that kind of thing. So and if that order was followed, and they were accepting the norms and all the rules and regulations which were within the family, it was okay. I mean, they were offering support as well as they were enforcing discipline. They were asking them to work. So that was the thing. But if any kind of say conflict starts, so that conflict would lead to, and everyone, all the 3 brothers and their families, they would have sometimes that someone is giving more, someone is working less and is getting all the benefits. So basically those were responsible for the rifts. As we would have seen in many Bollywood movies, early movies of 1960s or early 70s, there would be such families would be shown, and there would be families would be breaking down also, and those kind of things are there. And that's a part of normal scenario what was in our country also. But in the last 3 decades or 2 decades, gradually that number has come down. The other is the more and more people are shifting to cities where there are houses are smaller, so the joint family system can't sustain in that a say 1 or 2 bedroom house.
Yes, economic crunch will always be there.
And they can, affordability has also increased. So that has also led to the shifting from the joint family to the nuclear family. The family members, they join together at the time of some festival. They are able to offer support in the times of stress, but not all the time. They are not living together.
But Ruby Bharadwaj, isn't that one of the reasons also because urban areas are now seeing more and more families living together? Economic crunch could also be one of the biggest factors behind
that's
it.
one of the reasons. The fact that, you know, among the poorer section of the people, you find that they find it hard to afford multiple flats. So they huddle together, causing congestion within the family. And in the rural areas also, you will find that more and more households are becoming nuclear, not just because they are fissioning, but also because tribal people and people from the lower castes are now emulating the standards of the upper caste wealthy people, which is called Sanskritization in technical terms. So this Sanskritization is also causing people to live in nuclear households in the city, in the rural areas, and in the cities. Contrary to that, you will find more and more people living in new modes of families where they may have one person from the wife's side, maybe her father or her sister or her mother, or sometimes from the husband's family, living with them to look after the children when both husband and wife go out to work. So we have new forms of family which are adapting to the new circumstances that we are faced with.
Okay. Ma'am, earlier on you mentioned the family counseling centers that you're working on. What is the kind of counseling? Which are these kind of cases that come to you that you deal with on a...
The major cases which we are having are familial and marital maladjustments.
Okay.
So I will say that in a family, somehow in the discussion, the most critical part is the children. Now, any familial or marital maladjustment directly is affecting the children.
Yes.
So when we are having a new form of joint family system, which is semi-joint family system, which is coming up in urban areas, where the elders are there, not in the same space, but closer to the space.
So basically what you mean to say is over the years, the definition of joint family system is changing.
It's changing. And if this kind of, because we are directly dealing with the cases, now we can see the change which is coming. The children of the family which are having support of the grandparents, either from the maternal side or from the paternal side, are having the sense of security in them. Whereas when we see the children which are coming from the nuclear family system, there is a change in their behavioral pattern.
Okay.
Wherein the children are now needing more of psychological and counseling support to get out of that trauma.
And because as you mentioned, the loneliness factor is playing up with children of our yet.
So disintegration of family somewhere is affecting the children and the women. These are the two sectors which are the most affected sectors of the family.
Especially
Because
when you
males
have
can-
both sets of parents working, the child is at home, not with any family member, but with maybe one of the maids, or maybe spending too much time at daycares, and this is what is impacting.
So they are inculcating the habits from the caregivers, whether from the domestic helps or from the drivers or from the persons who are taking care.
Yes, whoever they are spending more time
They,
with,
they are
certainly.
taking the habits of
Okay, so let's now get into discussion. The middle-aged people sitting here who are, sort of caught between the two family systems.
I have my own nuclear family. I live, and my only one son. He is very introverted in nature. But I appreciate joint family because they are supporting moral, and culturally we are also learning a lot of things. And wherever the children are concerning, whenever they are living in a nuclear family, they are not learning anything. And by adapting the things, they are not learning about the family values, and they are getting more introvert, and they are not getting, whenever they are going outside, they are not mixing with others also. So I appreciate joint family, and that is also very good for the development of mental development, behavior, and all these things. That is good.
Okay.
I have just 1 or 2 points on whatever our panelists said. Dr. Saab talked about the adjustment. One factor which has not come out is that our seniors have already made tremendous amount of adjustment. Today, they realize and recognize the new realities, and their kind of roles have changed. The young people go in the morning, come back in the evening. The girl doesn't like cooking at all. So they have taken the role, rather than being the leaders, they have taken the role of a back office. They prepare the food, they look after them, they look after the children. And as a corollary of this, another thing has come out. Earlier we used to talk about compulsion. Compulsion was that because of economic need that we talked about, the families were forced to live together because of economic. Today a new need has come up. A boy and girl are all the time busy earning enough money, but they cannot look after themselves. They cannot look after their children. So perforce, they have to request their parents to come and stay. This is a new aspect of the joint family that we are seeing shift from a nuclear to this thing because of a different reason.
Ruby Bhardwaj, that's clearly neglect of the elderly is certainly a huge drawback of these smaller families that are emerging. And you know, this is one worry across India. As you pointed out, you will see several such families where both sets of parents are working. They do not want the child to be, perhaps for the very reason that, you know, they do not want the child to spend a lot of time at daycares, or maybe they're working in odd shifts. And he's right. They are brought into these families only because they have to take care of the children. And while their care is neglected completely.
True, I agree with him completely. But at the same time, you know, it is a situation which is born out of mutual help and support, where the parents are giving, so as Sir just pointed out, a back office kind of support and looking after the children. And I feel at some level there is a lack of communication between the generation which is just heading towards earning money and, you know, looking after their responsibilities of, you know, they also have to look after their parents. So a kind of accountability, a kind of responsibility needs to be inculcated, where parents are not to be treated as servants. You know, they have to be respected more, they have to be given more decision-making powers, because they come from a background where they have been, you know, the decision makers, and as, you know, very rightly pointed out, the roles have changed. But the roles need to be respected, more importantly, and there needs to be a proper channel of communication where parents do not feel that they are being abused.
I just want to say also that, you know, we need to really introspect each one of us and see how much we want to stress our individuality and work in that direction of mind, or do we want to move ahead with duties and responsibilities, because those are very, very important. I think somewhere we really need to understand the way that our own minds are heading when we are looking at things in a larger perspective.
Certainly. मैम आप कुछ कह रहे थे?
मेरा ये कहना है कि सब लोगों को चाहिए कि हमारे को सपोर्ट मिलना चाहिए, लेकिन सबको अपनी फ्रीडम भी चाहिए। और आजकल सिर्फ जैसा सब लोगों ने बोला है कि एक बच्चा है, दो बच्चा, पहले था कि 4-5 बच्चे हैं, एक बिजनेस है, सारे के सारे उसी में लगे हैं। अब सबके अलग अलग डिफरेंट फील्ड हो गई हैं, सबको अलग अलग जाना है, लेकिन वही है ना कि बच्चे निगलेक्ट हो रहे हैं, तो इसलिए पेरेंट्स चाहिए हमको। पेरेंट्स को चाहिए कि हम अपना करें, बच्चे चाहते हैं हम अपना करें, दोनों में कोलैप्स हो जाता है। इस वजह से ना तो वो एडजस्ट कर पाते हैं, ना बच्चे एडजस्ट कर पाते हैं। तो इसमें क्या है कि अगर हम बना लें, थोड़ा सा स्पेस उनको भी दे दें, थोड़ा सा स्पेस उनको भी दे दें, और एक जैसे कि हमने होली, दिवाली, कोई भी त्यौहार है, हमने सारे त्यौहार एक साथ ही मनाने हैं, तो शायद आगे चल सकता है। लेकिन जैसे कि समाज बदल रहा है, टाइम बदल रहा है, सबको बदलने की ज़रूरत है। या तो हम उनको पूरा अडॉप्ट नहीं कर पाते हैं, ना ये हमको अडॉप्ट कर पाते हैं। ये प्रॉब्लम है थोड़ी सी।
Dr. Chadda, so how to strike a balance between what he said, freedom of choice and compulsion, where they do not want to be just working as back support offices, as Sir pointed out?
I would need to add one more aspect actually, because as you grow old, your physical health needs and economic needs, they also are definitely much more than when you were young.
Yes.
So it's both ways, like the parents, the grandparents are taking care of the children, so grandparents also have their own needs, which could be physical needs, which could be economic needs, which could be emotional needs. So the younger group, the younger lot also has to take care of those things also, those aspects also. So it has to be a balance between the younger lots, they also have to give respect to the elders, So that balance needs to be maintained. So if that balance is affected, then definitely then many of the elders, they would like to stay, avoid the joint family. It's not that the younger people are wanting the joint family. Even elder people are not. Elder people also may like to go for that. We would like to live separately, where we can have. We don't have to constantly working the way we had been working earlier when we were young. So if they have to, like someone pointed out, that they have to cook food and they have to take care of the children, and so morning to evening, because definitely their physical energy, their physical energy has also come down. So a capacity has come down. So they can't work morning to evening. So it has to be a balance between the functions that in this extended nuclear family, or that's a concept of joint family these days. So all the members, they also have to fulfill their roles. If they don't fulfill their roles, that will lead to conflict, and that would lead to the mental health issues and a lot of other problems. So in that case, this new concept of joint family also won't work.
There are situations, Neelam Bhardwaj, when there are people who migrate for better economic opportunities to cities while the parents stay back in rural areas. But when situations arise, when you have a small child, you have, both the couple are working, and you need to take care of the baby, and you want your parents to shift with you to a city. But for them, it's difficult to adapt to the new lifestyle. For ages, they've lived in those rural areas. They're familiar with that. And to shift completely for your lifetime, for the remaining of your lifetime, to an atmosphere which you totally, are unfamiliar with, or it doesn't suit you. How can a balance be, struck in such a situation? How can both generations be expected to step up and support each other? Because as she said, then the blame game would continue, and this would break the families apart further.
First of all, what I would say in this particular situation is, see, the elders, I'll say the people who are above 50, their lives have been, streamlined as per their requirements.
Yes.
So they have to get up at a particular time, they have to take tea, then breakfast, then their routine is different than the routine of the children who are working. So one has to strike the balance between the two.
Yes.
Not only with the timings, their physical limitation, but their economical limitation, as well as the most important is the emotional, balance. Because what the aspirations where in a separate set of aspirations are there for the younger people and separate set of aspiration for the elders. The balance is very, very difficult. Very difficult.
It's extremely difficult.
But it has to come, the adjustment has to come from the family within. They will have to talk, they will have to communicate, they will have to share their, the problems which they are facing, the difficult situations they are undergoing. It can be any kind of situation.
Yes, you're right.
emotional.
Perhaps it's this gap which is leading to this blame game.
They have to communicate to each other. The understanding between the younger generation and the elder generation has to be there. So what is happening is, we talk of quality time, but there is no, there is no time for the quality time.
Yes.
So they have to have a common sitting at the tea time, at the dinner time, after dinner, post dinner, whatever is the convenient to them, and have to discuss their issues frankly, freely, and then come to a mutual agreement of, this is what I have to do, and this is my limitation. I can't go beyond this. And the alternates have to come from the family.
Okay, Rashmi Anand.
Also, one of the things that is bothering me, or the trend of conversation that we are having right now, it's bothering me that why should it be that, the general discussion is that parents should be called in because the couple needs them. That's not it. Parents should be there because that is our duty to look after them. Somewhere we've lost our thing that, because we are both working and our children are there, therefore we should call the parents and they should look after. That's not it. It's our duty, it's our responsibility, and somewhere it's our love. And I think we need to look at things that way.
I just wanted to say, because the elderly have lived a life, they're used to a given kind of life, and to expect them to come and be at the center of your household to manage things is a bit much, unless they are willing. Because what happens is, they're used to their own milieu. and uprooting them from their milieu at a ripe age is not
Exactly.
fair on them. So we need a system whereby, maybe a social security system where in case they have health issues, in case they have other issues, they can go, discuss, find solutions to it, and not just be at the center of managing their children's affairs, because it's the responsibility of the children to manage their own affairs and not that of the elderly who've already looked after them. They've done their bit already.
And precisely that's where the first point that you made is extremely valid, that the other support systems need also to be strengthened. It's because of these that the families are falling apart. Okay, one last time, let me go to the audience.
ये जो लेडीज़ हैं दे आर वेरी सेल्फिश. माई सेल्फ वर्किंग लेडी ऑल्सो. वर्किंग लेडीज आर वेरी सेल्फिश.
And why do you
जब
say
तक
so, ma'am?
4-5 साल का बच्चा हो जाता है पेरेंट्स को रखना चाहती हैं. आप आओ क्योंकि उनका बच्चा पल नहीं पा रहा. और जहाँ वो भेजती हैं क्रच में, स्पेशली मैंने भी बच्चे भेजे हैं क्रच में, क्या करते हैं वो ज़बरदस्ती उन्हें कुछ खिला देते हैं, चलो सो जाओ, पड़े रहो. तो दैट इज़ वेरी डिफ़िकल्ट फॉर ए वर्किंग लेडी कि किस तरह से एडजस्ट.
मैम वहीं पे तो रश्मि आनंद का पॉइंट है ना
हाँ
कि
जी, मैं
घर वाले जो उससे प्यार करेंगे,
हाँ
उसको
जी.
प्यार से रखेंगे, लेकिन जो बाहर का है उसको उसके साथ उस तरह का फॉन्डनेस नहीं रहेगा.
नहीं मिलेगा.
इसीलिए घर वालों की जिम्मेदारी है कि हमारा बच्चा ढंग से पले.
मैं वही कहना चाहती हूँ कि दोनों को एडजस्ट करना चाहिए.
बिल्कुल.
मतलब वर्किंग लेडीज़ को भी और पेरेंट्स को भी.
जी, बिल्कुल.
जब तक वो दोनों एडजस्ट नहीं करेंगे ये सोसाइटी ऐसे ही मूव करती रहेगी और फ्लॉज आते रहेंगे.
I'm not much experienced as they are, but still I want to put my opinion with an example, as I'm also a youngster. So what I thought is that whenever I need to take some decision regarding my studies or regarding anything, so in nuclear families what happens that I have a limited people that I can take I can take suggestion from my mother, from my father, or from my brother, sister, but as human nature I will not satisfy with them, because we find more and more reasons, more and more answer that I'm as much as I can that maybe he or she can wrong, then what will happen. So if if I am living in joint families, then what happens that I will get more reason, more answers about anything. That grandfather will say something different, grandmother will
there
say
will be different opinions from people.
So
yes.
I will become more and more confident about my ideas, about my any decisions, that it can be true, because if they all are saying the same thing, that it can be true. But in nuclear families what happened that we find more and more people to tell the truth, to tell the real reason about that. So it happens a lot, and we lose our confidence and we lose our communication skills, that and we become more and more introvert also.
Okay. In the corner, do you want to add something? Yeah.
आज जैसा कि आप मुझे देख के मेरी उम्र का अंदाज़ा लगा सकते हैं, मैं अपने बुज़ुर्गों, अपनी आने वाली जनरेशन का बीच का हिस्सा हूँ. और हमारे सामने जो सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम ये आ रही है कि हम एक थॉट प्रोसेस को एक प्लेटफॉर्म पर नहीं लेकर आ रहे हैं. हमारे बच्चे बिना बुज़ुर्गों के पल रहे हैं, उसका सबसे बड़ा साइड इफ़ेक्ट ये है उन्हें मेंटल सिक्योरिटी नहीं मिलती, सोशल सिक्योरिटी वो लूज़ कर रहे हैं. अभी अगर मैं अपनी 10 साल की बेटी को घर छोड़ के आई हूँ, मैं जानती हूँ मैं क्या क्या सोच रही हूँ, मुझे कितना जल्दी घर पहुँचना है. एक ये पार्ट हो गया. मैं अगर मेड के भरोसे या कोई टेक केयर करने वाला हो या किसी क्रच में अगर बच्चे को भेजती हूँ तो भी बहुत सारे कॉम्प्लिकेशंस हैं, और आजकल गर्ल्स ही नहीं बॉयज़ भी इसका शिकार हो रहे हैं. अपनों के पास जब हम छोड़ते हैं वो अपनापन हम देकर आते हैं, लेकिन हमारे जो बुज़ुर्ग हैं वो हमसे आदर, सम्मान और अपनी सेल्फ रिस्पेक्ट चाहते हैं. जो लोग वो नहीं दे पा रहे हैं, इसी की वजह से फैमिलीज़ टूट रही हैं. मेरी परिवार में 24 लोग हैं, मेरी मैटरनल साइड से भी और ससुराल से भी, और मैं 7वें नंबर की बहू हूँ अपने घर में. देन आई कैन फील दैट हाउ कॉन्फिडेंट आई एम. जहाँ मुझे लगता है कि देयर इज़ समथिंग रॉन्ग, वहाँ मुझे लगता है मेरा पूरा परिवार मेरे साथ है, तो मुझे बड़ा गर्व महसूस होता है, भले ही मैं सबसे छोटी हूँ. तो ये चीज़ें अगर हम बच्चों में डालना चाहेंगे कि हम समझने के लिए तैयार हैं, लेकिन हमारे बुज़ुर्गों को, हमारी पिछली पीढ़ी को हमसे सिर्फ सम्मान भावना चाहिए. और हम जो सलाह दे रहे हैं आपको या कुछ भी सजेशन आपकी लाइफ से रिलेटेड दे रहे हैं वो एक्सपीरियंस बेस्ड है, उसको एक बार समझने की ज़रूरत है.
The new generation should respect the old parents. They should not take them as caretaker for them.
Okay, so what you clearly see is among the audience there are people of various age groups, each coming up with their own concerns. But obviously, what's important, Neelam Bharadwaj, is, as you rightly said, that we need to strike a balance. Both generations have to take care of each other's needs, be sensitive towards each other's needs. But what this young girl pointed out is that people of her generation, precisely, where they want different opinions from people, they are having very few opinions in life on which they are forming their own opinions. And that is why they are losing out somewhere on that democratic attitude of accepting differing thoughts and then forming their own opinion based on their wisdom, isn't it?
In that case, they'll have to find out an opportunity for having the family together and put across the words or put across the issues which are there. And in that, you can be one of the source. The children can be one of the source. They can always say that we want to have a meeting with the joint parent, with the parents, with the grandparents, with the auntie, with the uncle, maternal side, paternal side. So they can come up with such certain, suggestions to the family.
Yes, Rashmi?
What I wanted to say also is that it's a very good thing, and the way that technology is increasing in our world and everything. But it is also, I think, one of the reasons for a lot of mental trauma that happens, because
definitely.
When you don't have people around you, like a larger family around you, then the only interaction that a child has is with that computer. And there's so much in that computer which, children can lose track of.
Yes, a lot of unlimited information you shouldn't be having access
to. And which is not information that they should even be privy to at certain ages and stages. Yes. So we need to look at, the way that you need to structure the world and the social world around you, and see how you can grow your child in ways that you can't in a nuclear family. You can't by leaving them alone with that one little computer that is their window to the world. You need to understand that human interaction, especially that of our own families, is very, very imperative.
Dr. Chadha, what she said is right, because, I mean, even if you live in a joint family system, because technology is not something that, the senior citizens would be so comfortable with or would be so familiar with, and the youngsters using it, what trap they are falling is something that even they can't keep track of.
One aspect here is that if child is, or say youngster is being left without any supervision, the elderly or the grandparents, definitely they can limit the time the child spends on computer. Because if there is no one to supervise, this time could be unlimited. And I have seen, and all of you must have seen, the young mothers, they are having infant in their lap, or say they are putting the infant on the seat and putting the mobile phone with some cartoon film before the child. Before that 1-year-old or even 11-month or 10-month-old child.
The argument would be because they don't need, we don't have the time to keep feeding them.
That's the kind of thing which needs to be avoided. And definitely if the grandparents or say some other persons are there, say it's not grandparents, say any other person is there in the family is bigger. So such incidents definitely can come down.
Dr. Bharadwaj, all of this brings us again to that situation that we are in this conflicting world where we have to adapt the best practices of both family systems, the joint and the nuclear. How can we do it? What is the perfect way to go forward?
See, we are changing, and I'm sure the family will also evolve. And we also have a situation, look, when we talk about joint family, we talked about, common residence, common property, common deity, But one thing we must remember, maybe we may not be able to live in a common residence, but the channels of communication today are so many. You find it's, on WhatsApp or on video calls, parents, grandparents and children are interacting. They're telling them what we ate today, what prize we got in the school today. So I think technology at some level is also helping children to interact with their grandparents, get back their feedback, get their blessings. And also we find that we will sooner or later come to our own solutions. These are not solutions which will be mandated by others. These are solutions we have to find ourselves.
Yes.
Each family has to find their own ways to, meet the two ends, because and the owners, lies on the generation that we are looking at, because they have to look after their children, they also have to look after the elderly. So the balance has to be struck by this generation, which has to grapple with both ends.
Certainly. So, of course, the challenge is huge, but then as all our panelists have suggested, both generations have to step up and look for ways as to how this can be done, as to how the best of both family systems can be adapted. Being in any of the families, joint or nuclear, is driven by several factors, as we've discussed on our program today, which are sometimes beyond our control. For example, economic opportunities, career growth. But they give you a different kind of experience and lifestyle altogether, both joint as well as nuclear families. But the most important fact is that family forms the basic building block of our lives, as well as that of a harmonious, inclusive society that we are responsible for building. And therefore, the only way forward, or I should say the best way forward, lies in embracing a collective living that originates from strong families, small or big, doesn't matter. Thank you to all my guests for joining me on this edition of The Pulse and helping us understand that the challenge is huge, but then obviously with solutions that they have suggested, we have to find out ways as to how to make our families more inclusive and more collective. Thank you to our audience members as well for sharing your perspective, bringing out the problems that we face in our families, and for participating on the show today. That's it from us in this edition of The Pulse. But before I wrap up, let me remind you that you can also watch our program online on YouTube and Twitter. And you can also share your feedback and suggestions about the program. Thank you very much for your time.